Bike Shop Radio is a podcast that originates from 718 Cyclery in Brooklyn, New York. My name is Joe Nocella, former architect and owner of 718 Cyclery. We will discuss modern retail trends, the bike industry, and life in and around our vibrant shop. We focus on content and interest, not recording technology and slick editing. Our stories might happen in our loud shop, on the louder streets of Brooklyn, or out in the country on a bike camping trip. There might be sirens or Van Halen in the background, so be prepared. Thank you for taking the time to listen this far. I hope we can entertain you for the remainder of the episode. This is Joe, and I'm in Reno, Nevada for Interbike. Interbike is the cycling industry's national trade show. Traditionally it was held in Las Vegas, and before that other places. This year is its first year in Reno, Nevada. We got invited because 718 has won a couple of awards this year. One is Top 100 Bike Shops. The other is a Retail Innovation Award. And I was going to do this podcast about some of the things that I kind of found out here at Interbike at the trade show, talking to my peers, all those great things. However, I saw a speech this morning that really blew me away. It was by the Ace Hardware CEO, whose name is John Venhuizen. And he gave a speech today that really blew away the room in terms of talking about the state of modern retail and what his company has done to kind of stay relevant. The lecture is about 44 minutes long, and it is really, truly fascinating. I really recommend sitting down and listening to this. If you're into retail, if you're into the bike world, some great lessons to be had. He had the room, kind of at the edge of its seat in terms of the speech that he gave. So in its entirety, here is that speech.
Just as the French faced new enemies with new weapons that literally almost wrecked all of human history, so too do you face new enemies with new weapons that can wreck every single brick and mortar retailer on the face of the earth. Unless there be no mystery, I'm talking about Amazon, which is arguably the most disruptive company in human history. And if you're not already wearing a pair of Depends and dribbling in your pants, let me make it a bit worse for you by sharing 3 numbers. They'll be easy to remember. They all start with 50. 50, 50, and 50. I'm speaking only of the US here. Their global domination will make you really sick to your stomach, but let's just talk about the US. 50% of all consumer searches on the internet now start on Amazon. This has become Google's #1 competitor. 50% of searches are starting on the internet. Unless you've sold your soul to Amazon already, that means you're immediately removed from the consideration set from half your customer base. The other 50 is that 50% of the US households, 117 million households, 50% of the US households have now paid Amazon $100 in advance to become Prime members so they can get free and fast shipping any day of the week. And the last 50 is that 50% of all online business is now done with Amazon. And folks, I would humbly and respectfully tell you, if you are not every day thinking about what this is implications for your business, I would respectfully tell you, you've got your head buried in the sand. They're the most disruptive company in human history. Third implication, when you're at war, it requires a battle plan. And folks, I come here today with 2 distinct battle plans for you, and you can decide which one of the 2 you want to choose. The first one I'm going to give you is a 5-point battle plan. We'll call the Maginot Line battle plan. This is the fight the last war battle plan. And I'm going to serve you up 5 points. So if you're interested in killing your growth, thwarting momentum, discouraging all your people, and lying bloody on the battlefield, I got a great plan for you. You ready? Here goes. If you want to kill your growth, thwart your momentum, discourage all the people that do the heavy lifting for you, and end up bloody on the battlefield, here's 5 things you want to do. First, make sure you inject massive amounts of hubris and arrogance into your company. Have you ever seen the research on why some great retailers that were big time when we grew up are no longer here? You know what the leading indicator is? arrogance and excessive pride. Make sure that you display to all the people that if anything goes well, it's yours to get the credit. If things go bad, make sure you blame others. And as a customer experience, make sure your customer service says to people like me who are not experts in much of anything, let alone bicycling, that we're morons and we really don't even deserve to be in your shop. Arrogance kills companies. And if you want to make sure yours isn't here in a few years, load your culture with arrogance. Second way to make sure you can kill your company and discourage all your people is to have undisciplined pursuit. Constantly be pursuing the next big thing, go after it with ravenous ferocity, and make sure you confuse growth with excellence. Just assume they're one and the same. Better yet, as you pursue everything with no discipline, make sure you load it down with lots of debt so the next time we get into a recession, and it's coming someday, I don't know when, you won't be able to pay off your bills. Remember, most companies die not because of starvation, but because of indigestion. Third, if you want to kill your company, make sure you do the flip side of this. And I see this so often with small businesses around the world. Have no pursuit. Get comfortable. Take your hand off the wheel, take your foot off the gas, and just jump in the back seat and go cruising, because your business is going to coast for the next generation. Become complacent. Don't pursue anything. And folks, can I humbly ask you, if the truth were be told, when's the last time you ever took any meaningful risk in your business? Those of you who are retailers, how many times do you find yourself going, well, it's good enough for my dad and my mom and my grandpa, we're just going to keep doing it this way? If the truth were be told, have you built the Maginot Line in your business? Are you comfortably resting on what worked decades ago in the hopes that maybe it'll provide a good future for you and the generation behind you? Do you know that hope isn't a strategy, but you're going to execute it anyway? Are you building the Maginot Line in your business? Folks, I don't know you well enough to pick on you, so let me pick on myself. I'm going to give you an illustration that I gave the ACE retailers about 4 years ago. And I think it'll be an illustration that'll provide you some real pragmatic implications for your own business, because I see lots of similarities in what we do. But I think this illustration will also show you how easy it is to criticize the French in hindsight while operating with the exact same flawed principle in the present. So let me give you 2 seconds of context so the illustration makes some sense to you. In our business, we are working on 3 and only 3 things. The way I articulate this to our retailers that are ACE is that there are 3 battles that we must wage to win the retail war, and we are at war. Service, convenience, and quality. Service. We want to have an irrational pursuit of amazing service. We want to pursue service to our neighbors, and we don't call them customers, they're neighbors, because we live there too. We want to pursue a level of service to these neighbors that our competitors look at and go, that's crazy. Exactly. We want to exploit the geographic proximity advantage we have. We've got 5,186 stores, almost 80% of the United States. It's been 15 minutes of an ACE store, and we want to exploit the convenience factor we have versus those big boxes. And quality, man, we press our suppliers to make sure that our stores have high quality, locally relevant, differentiated stuff you can't go buy on some discount website. Service, convenience, and quality. So I took that framework, and I said to our retailers, let's take a look at this framework, thinking now about the Maginot Line, and apply it to something really important in our business: backyards and barbecues. Outdoor barbecue is a huge category for us. And so I said, let's take a look at our service, convenience, and quality strategy, and look how historically we have overlaid that framework against the enemies we used to face. That could be Home Depot, Lowe's, used to be Sears, Menards in the Midwest. Let's take a look at how we use service, convenience, and quality to sell a grill to a consumer who's got choices from these other big box retailers. And here's how it goes for us. Maybe you'll see something similar to the way you operate your business. Service. We got 100,000 red-vested heroes sitting in stores working for local owners who will provide irrational service to the customer and can teach these folks the best grill for their specific needs in that neighborhood. And the competitors? Oh, come on. Why would you wander around a warehouse to buy a grill? Give me a break. Good luck finding somebody. We can win on service. All right, historically, how have we used convenience? We got speedy-sized stores right in the neighborhood. And we got more stores than Home Depot and Lowe's and Sears combined. We can win on convenience, and historically we have. Maybe you do too. Well, how about quality? We got high-quality grills like this Weber grill with unique colors that are distinct to Ace, and unique flavorizer bars. That's a feature that we can teach you about when you come into our store so that you're going to get a great cook. And low price equals low quality. They got cheap crap. Why would you go there? We can win on service, convenience, and quality, and for generations, that's how we sold grills. But now let's fast forward to today. Because today, like you, we face new enemies with new weapons. So let's take a look at our service and convenience and quality framework against new enemies like digital, like Amazon. Service. We still got our red-vested heroes ready to serve you when you come into the store, and they will know more than any of our competitors, except now there's this stupid thing called YouTube. What the? Right now, while I'm talking, there's millions of hours of video being loaded up on YouTube. There are 679,000 videos right now on YouTube that can teach you every single thing you've ever wanted to know about a grill. And you can learn everything about a grill at home, in your underwear if you want to, which starts to make our service strategy feel a little less heart-pounding. Unless you just think it's an issue for our business. I did a little research on purchasing a bike. YouTube has over 5 million videos on how to purchase a bike. There are 6.4 million videos on YouTube right now to teach me how to fix and repair and replace a bike. Well, convenience, we still got our speedy-sized stores right in the neighborhood. Well, now every single person on the planet's got one of these. And my cell phone is a lot more convenient than your store. I carry it right here in my pocket everywhere I go. Some of you weirdos sleep with the thing, which is a level of convenience I'm not acquainted with, but this is the new normal. Ooh. How do I feel about our convenience strategy now? Well, we still got quality grills with unique dimensions we can teach you about, like flavorizer bars, but unfortunately for all of us now, there's social media. And every consumer in the world who has any experience with the product somehow has got to run to the internet and go tell everybody about it, like I give a flying rip. And I find posts like this. Your flavorizer bars are nothing more than marketing BS. And so I take my cell phone, I hit one-click ordering, and I get my new grill shipped in a box to my front porch in 2 days for free. How are you feeling about the service, convenience, and quality strategy now? It smells a little bit like the Maginot Line, doesn't it? Folks, if you want to make sure your business has no chance to be passed on to the next generation, don't pursue anything new. Just keep resting on what worked last year. I've got 2 more points to suck the life out of the room. 4 of them. If you want to kill your business and thwart your growth and make sure everybody in your business is totally discouraged and can't stand working for you, make sure you regularly commit the cardinal sin of leadership. You know what that is? It's in all of us. The cardinal sin of leadership is that we overestimate our own performance. We overestimate our own abilities, and then we vilify others to justify it. That's why when things are going wrong, you can rarely come to the conclusion that it's ever your fault. How could it be? You own the place. Folks, I see this inside of me so much it makes me sick. In fact, I see it in every area of my life. My 2 biological kids are 16 and 18 years old, but a few years ago, my wife and I adopted a little guy who had had a really hard start to his life. And we brought him into our home, and a new noise entered my house that I had not heard about in more than a decade. Some of you with kids maybe are familiar with this noise. See, we have a value in our house. It's called sleeping at night. And this little guy we brought in didn't share that value. And you remember the scream at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're dead asleep, and oh my goodness, that sound is horrific. Like, I've seen that movie before. I don't want to see it again. And I wake up at 2 in the morning, I look at my wife, and immediately, without any work whatsoever, this is what enters my mind like that. I think, somebody should go take care of the kid. Somebody should check on him. I've had a very busy day. I have a very important job. I got a lot of important stuff to do tomorrow, and my company needs me with a sharp, sound mind. I'm going to need my rest. I'm the freaking CEO of Ace Hardware. I'm not getting up at 2 o'clock for this snot-nosed kid. You see how I immediately start building up my own importance and self-worth? And then reflexively, I start to look at this woman next to me called my wife. And I think, what did she do all day today? I mean, I was at work at 6 a.m. I bet she was still sleeping. I bet you she was in her pajamas till noon. I bet you she's wide awake right now and she's faking she's sleeping, so then I gotta go do it. In an instant, I'm laying next to my best friend in the whole world, and I just convinced myself that she is a lying, conniving, lazy liar. She's not here, and I'm gonna tell you she is. You think I ever do that in business? If I can do that to my best friend in the world reflexively, if you want to make sure nobody likes working for you, if you want to make sure your business doesn't exist, make sure you commit the cardinal sin of leadership. And lastly, if you want to thwart all your growth and make sure your future is painful, make sure you fear the future and pine for the past. Oh, if this was a career, there'd be millionaires all over the place. Fear the future, pine for the past. This is like a full-time occupation for many. Heck, this is the story of America, and we never learn. There's actually a name for this. It's called Malthusianism. It's named after a guy named Robert Thomas Malthus, who in 1789, famously predicted the end of the world because he said the population growth was going to far outpace the food production. He was a Lilliputian. We're all going to die. We're never going to make it. He bet against human ingenuity. He was a skeptical, critical pessimist and was proven totally wrong because human ingenuity now produces tenfold yield per acre. But he bet against it, and we never learned. When I went to school in the 70s, we were all going to die because of global cooling. In the 90s, we're all going to die because of global warming. Now we're all going to die because it's going to go one way or another and we're all dead. In 2000s, it was Y2K is all going to kill us. Then there wasn't going to be enough oil, but now we got fracking. People are constantly fearing the future and pining for the good old days of the past. And if you want to make sure you kill your business and discourage everybody that comes around you, do this. Be like a South Indian monkey. Are you familiar with the South Indian monkeys? The South Indian monkeys have built a monkey business on sweet rice. They love sweet rice. Their parents loved sweet rice. Their grandparents started the monkey business in sweet rice. It's what they know, it's what they do, and they're good at it. But unfortunately for these South Indian monkeys, a new enemy has showed up with new technologies and new weapons that are starting to render sweet rice and the sweet rice monkey business irrelevant. You see, the villagers of South India have figured out that they can take a coconut and tie it to a tree so you can't run away with the coconut. They hollow out a hole in the coconut, empty it, and then pour sweet rice into the hole. The hole's big enough that you can fit your hand in there, and that's exactly what the monkeys do. But when you grab the rice and cling to it, your fist doesn't fit out the hole. And yet these sweet rice-loving, generational South Indian monkeys put their hands in there and cling to what they know so strongly that the Indian folks just put a bag over their head, club them to death, and end them. Just like that, because these folks are clinging so hard to the past, they can't let go. The question for you is obviously, are you clinging to the past so tightly that when new enemies and new weapons and new technology shows up, it renders you and your business irrelevant? Well, if you want to make sure your business has no future, do that. Great talking to you. Have a good convention. Just kidding. It's not over. What sort of a pervert would end it now? That's not the plan, folks. Sweet mother, are you that discouraged? Folks, that is the Maginot Line plan. And I'm here to tell you, burn the bridges, burn the boats, and never look back. There is a better way. Your future can be bright and your best days can be ahead of you. But it is going to take a different plan. It's going to take a modern plan. We don't want to fight the last war. We want to fight the war we're in right now. And gang, remember, it is a war. You really do compete with some of the biggest, best, smartest, most well-funded companies this world's ever seen. And it won't be easy, but it can be done. So let me tee up for you 5 points that you can wield today's weapons that I believe will hunt for generations. First, don't bring in hubris, bring in humility. Make sure your organization is loaded with humility. Make sure you understand that there's no one from whom you can't learn something. This is the notion where windows and mirrors came from. When things are going well, you look out the window and you give praise to all the folks who did the heavy lifting to get you there. And when things stink and they're hard and they're not going the way you want, you look in the mirror and say, what can I do to make this better? It's on me. I own the place. And folks, I gotta ask you, do you want to be independent or do you want to be entrepreneurial? Do you want to be independent or do you want to be entrepreneurial? And there is a choice. And when given it, I would choose the latter versus the former. There's such a temptation to be fiercely independent, but let me humbly ask you, how is the go-it-alone, fiercely independent, play it safe, go solo, be purely independent retail business model working in the US these days, Gabe? How's it going? How's the pure independent bookstore doing these days? How's the pure independent electronics store doing these days? How's the pure independent drugstore doing in the United States? How's the pure independent toy store doing in the United States? Folks, it is a literal trail of tears of those who took their fierce independence right to their grave. And I would say it's going to take a lot of humility to admit that you are stronger together. I'm not up here to sing the virtues of ACE, but I will just tell you by form of illustrative example, we're cooperative, which not only means that our local ACE stores own their local business, they also own us. They're the only shareholders of ACE. I don't own any of it. And the reason they're part of this cooperative is because we know we are stronger together. When we operate alone, they can squash us like a grape, but when we work together and join hands and go someplace with a bunch of power behind everybody, these small business owners can disproportionately move their weight. I guess that's why you have this I think there's a bike cooperative. Why would you not be part of that? You compete with some of the biggest, best, most well-funded companies the world has ever known. And I think it's going to take a lot of humility to say, you're stronger together. Second, if you're going to win the retail war, it is going to take an incredible amount of humility, and it's going to take even more discipline. Disciplined execution is everything. Fancy pantses like me with big fancy titles like to talk about vision, values, and strategy all the time, and there's a place for it for sure, but I will tell you, business is won or lost with disciplined execution. Not undisciplined pursuit, disciplined execution. And I will tell you, we believe excellence honors God and inspires people. When you are around something excellent, doesn't it make you want to take your game up a notch? And I'll tell you, it just hit me like a brick in the head. I'll just kind of give you a summary of a book I read called The 4 Disciplines of Execution by Chris McChesney. And it hit me so hard, we tried to permeate this thinking throughout ACE, because discipline is tough. Real quickly, maybe I'll save you the read. I'll save you the $40. Here's the 4 disciplines. And if they don't work for you, throw them out. Find another form of discipline. But the first is to have wildly important goals. And boy, did this hit us, because we want to do everything. But there's a difference between wildly important and just important. A great example was back in the 60s. If you looked at the mission statement of NASA, it'll make you throw up in your mouth. It looked like a Dilbert cartoon. We're going to explore space and time and continuum, blah, blah, blah. No one in the world knew what that made sense of. And then John F. Kennedy made it real clear. Here's your wildly important goal. We're going to send a man to the moon and get him back safely by the end of the decade. And then it became 3 really important things at NASA: navigation, propulsion, and life support. And if you're not working on one of those 3 things, quit now because it doesn't matter. Do we have that kind of clarity in our business? You gotta have wildly important goals. Then you gotta have leading indicators. And again, that hit me in the head like an anvil, because we operate our business so often with lagging indicators. How's business? Well, sales. What was customer count? What's gross margin? How's my cash flow? Those are all lagging indicators. We need to operate our business with the things that predict how we're gonna do in the future. Think of it this way. If you wanted to lose weight, not that you do, this is illustrative, this isn't a fat joke, I promise. But if you wanted to lose 40 pounds, that'd be a wildly important goal. And if I said, how's it going? And you said, I've gained 2, that is not a leading indicator. That's a lagging indicator. What are the leading indicators? Exercise and diet. Exercise and diet. What are the leading indicators in your business? And the folks who are on the front line serving your neighbors know what they are. Third is a cadence of accountability. When you have your wildly important goals, you have a leading indicator metric. The cadence of accountability merely gets you in front of the people that go, what are you working on? How can I help? What do the numbers look like? How are leading indicators? What are you working on? How can I help? And the fourth is just to have a compelling scorecard so all the people on the front lines in your business know when they go home at night, did they have a good day? We ask thousands of our associates that work in A stores, when you go home at night, how do you know if you had a good day? The answer is made me weep. They're busting their butt on the front lines. Some of the lowest paid people in the company, we didn't have clarity around what it is that we keep score. You need a compelling scorecard. And folks, I'd really say again, if you don't like that, find something to intrude some discipline into your business, because I'll tell you, you have 2 choices, and they're both painful. It's either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. It's either the pain of discipline, the hard work, the gritty work of having a disciplined operation, or the pain of regret to look back on your business someday when you're on some rocking porch sipping a lemonade going, if I wish I would have. When I was in college, I was fortunate enough to play basketball. My junior year, we had an away game against our big rival. This school was bigger than us, they were better than us, they were better looking than us. They should have won on every single time we were playing. But with 3 minutes left in the game, we were up 6. Their crowd was dead silent. They hadn't said a word in an hour. We're up 6. I'm on defense. My guy tries to go around me, and I tap the ball, and it goes right into the hands of my teammate. I break for the other end, and Nate Newick, my teammate, throws me a pass. It's so perfect, I don't even need to dribble. It's me in the bucket. And I thought, I am going to put an exclamation point on this game on their floor. And I go up to do a tomahawk dunk. Now, you guys are in the cycling business. Maybe you don't know basketball, but there's an orange rim, and it's supposed to go in the middle of it. I decided to crank the ball on the top of the rim, let my body weight break the rim, remember those old-fashioned breakaway rims, break the rim back, and as my hand peeled off the ball, the rim ricocheted up and the ball had shot up into the rafters. I totally trashed the dunk. I'm laying on my back, and I'm looking up. I remember thinking, dear Lord, please let the ball come down. I mean, I thought maybe the game's over because I lost the ball in the rafters. Oh, every single time I got the ball for the next 3 minutes, the whole crowd yelled, dunk it again! We lost by 2. Oh, the pain of regret. I am embarrassed to tell you, to this day, folks, that was almost 30 years ago, I still lose sleep over that. Really? Like for real. And it doesn't even matter. What about your business? I lose sleep because I didn't have the discipline to lay it in. Do you have the discipline to make your business as great as it can be? Third, if you want to win the retail war today, you are going to have to attack. 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 Don't take your hand off the wheel and your foot off the gas and get in the back and just cruise it out to retirement. You attack. And the best way to attack, any military strategist will tell you, you attack a weakness in the very strength of your enemy. You don't play their game. You find things only you can do. And there's a huge cadre of weaponry for you to do just that. Folks, we're talking about lessons from military battles. Well, have you ever heard of the famous one called David and Goliath? Do you remember the lesson of David and Goliath? When you are facing a giant, and we are, it's of no use to show up for the fight with a 4-foot spear when your enemy's got an 8-foot spear. Nobody at Ace is trying to convince you got lower prices than Amazon or Menards. Service, convenience, and quality. If Amazon's big, you be small. If they're global, you be local. If they're technical and impersonal, you make it painfully personal. Folks, I told you about our little exposure of our weakness on service, convenience, and quality on the category of grills. Remember, it felt a little bit like we're building the Maginot Line. And maybe some of you quietly were thinking, am I doing that in our business? Well, let me tell you the end of that story. We didn't just sit back and go, I guess we're getting cremated on our service, convenience, and quality. We'll just sit back and take it. No, we decided to attack. We said, we're going to redefine service, convenience, and quality in more modern, relevant ways. So we started with quality. We went out and got the best charcoal grill anybody can get. It's a big green egg and you can't buy it on Amazon. We got the best wood pellet grill called the Traeger. We got the best propane grill called the Weber. And we said, we're going to double down on our assortment so that we have the best, highest quality, most locally relevant mix you can find anywhere in the neighborhood. And we're going to redefine service and convenience. You know, grills are great, but they suck building them. You get one shipped to your home for free on your porch. Good luck assembling it. We decided we were going to assemble those grills for our neighbors. And then because 80% of the US is within 15 minutes of an Ace store, we decided we're going to assemble it and deliver it to your back porch for free. And then we put $12 million behind telling the world we're on the attack in a weakness we thought in the very strength of our enemy. And we put $12 million behind this TV commercial. Go ahead and run this commercial, would you?
Did they say what time they get here?
Around 5. Oh, they're early.
Who's early?
Somebody get the door.
What? A grill?
Take everything you love about Christmas and wrap it in red. Right now at Ace, give it all new Weber Genesis 2 or any grill $3.99 and up, and we'll assemble and deliver it free.
Merry Christmas, Daddy.
Ace is the place with helpful hardware folks.
Folks, you can get some of those Weber grills on Amazon. But good luck having one of their stupid drones delivered to your porch, right? Now, I will tell you, gang, many of you in the room are operators. Free assembly and delivery is operationally brutal. But this will be the 5th year in a row we've had 26% compounded annual growth on the category of grills. You can find weakness in the strength of your biggest enemies and you attack. And who's better equipped to do that than the local owner who lives there? You're going to know your customers better than those folks will ever even dream of. Nobody cares like you do. You don't sit back and take it, you fight. In case you're not up to speed on your Old Testament, David won that fight. And you can too. 4, if we're going to compete in today's world, folks, we've got to be open-minded. And the point I put up here is just this. We're going to have to be students, not critics. We're going to have to be students, not critics. Folks, we all of us in this room, we reflexively resist that which we don't understand. And the future is uncertain. And because we tend to overestimate our own abilities, we then become skeptical critics, criticizing everyone and every other idea we hear because we're reflexively afraid of the future. And criticizing is easy. If it was a job, I'd be great at it. But it's not what leaders do. And folks, I think it's going to take a massive dose of humility to recognize a fact that you're going to hate, but is absolutely true. The next generation ideas almost never come from the previous generation. Let me say that to you again so it irritates you as much as it irritates me. The next generation ideas almost never come from the previous generation. And folks, those of us who've been around the business for a while, we know how things are done, don't we? I heard a speaker named Andy Stanley speak about the difference between how versus wow a while ago, and it hit me so hard I've been trying to impress this into our organization. Because those of us who've been around for a while, I've been at ACE now 26 years, I know how things are done. And I bet you the pervasiveness of this problem is significant here too. Just for fun, play along. This will be real quick, it won't be painful. How many of you in the room have been in the bicycle industry? How many of you have been in the bike industry for more than a year? Raise your hand, real quick. Keep them up. How many of you have been in the bike industry more than 5 years? Keep them up. 10? How many of you have been in the biking industry more than 20 years? How many of you are so old you're having trouble keeping your hand up at this point? We've been around for a while. We know how things are done. And so when a stupid idea comes our way, we know how to get rid of that idea, don't we? People serve us up an idea and we say, how'd you ever come up with that? How'd you ever think of that? How's that going to work in the store? How are we going to price that? How are we going to let the consumer know about that? How are we going to handle that at POS? How are we going to handle that in back office? How? And the person on the other end goes, I got it. I will never share another idea with you again. Good job. But what if every once in a while we set aside all that we know, instead of going with hows that suck the life out of people, the very people who are coming to you with ideas to better your business? And what if every once in a while we just said, you get what? Wow. You want to do what sort of event in the parking lot this weekend? What? Wow. You want to have what sort of a demonstration? Because you can't demonstrate a bike on Amazon. You want to do what? Wow. You want to devote 25% of all profits this weekend to a charity? Which charity? Wow. What would that do to the person on the other end of the idea generator? What if every one of you had a culture that wasn't known for howling things to death, but rather wowing them to life? I think you'd have a better business. And I think you'd motivate the Sam Hill out of all the folks on the front line doing heavy lifting for your business. Be a student, not a critic. Last point, gang. And if you didn't listen to anything else I say, please don't miss this one. Because servant leadership is so inspirational and so unique, especially compared to the enemies you face, that I think it honestly can be a differentiator in your business that your community feels. And no one is more equipped to do that than a local owner. Nobody. The power of the mind and entrepreneurship of a small business owner, coupled with the scale of the power of everybody together, is one of the most beautiful things in all business. And I would tell you simply this: a servant heart is not the enemy of a profitable business. It's the enabler. And folks, I would tell you, your culture in your store, your culture in your community will only be as good as the top leader in that organization wants it to be. And I'll just tell you my personal conviction on this. There is only one thing in the whole world that God treasures. Just one. It's people. And that's why our culture has to scream, values are more important than victories. Purpose is more important than profit, and people will always matter more than money. But you see, it's not a zero-sum game. Because a servant heart is not the enemy of a profitable business, it's the enabler of it. And folks, I get to see this every day. I'll tell you, it's why I've stayed at ACE. It's not so much what you do, it's who you do it with. And these local owners running these ACE stores around the country are unbelievable in terms of their servant heart. Quick story about a group down in Houston. And folks, listen, they're in Houston, which by definition means they're not better looking than anybody. They're certainly not smarter than anybody. But this group of folks, appropriate booze from all of you from Texas, get over it, it's just a joke. Listen, I live in Illinois. We're about to merge with Chechnya, okay? So give me some grace here. These folks in Houston have used their success to be a springboard of significance in that community that makes my jaw drop. Quick story. We operate with retailer groups. We actually encourage local hardware store owners to get together in their community so that they can learn from each other and better their business, because they're not the enemy. Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, Target, Amazon, that's the enemy. So we get them together so we can better our business together, because there's power in all of us. And the leaders of the Houston group, these guys by the name of Ron and Rick, Rick Oswald calls me about 2 weeks before we're about to have a convention in Houston. I mean, this is 20,000 people affiliated with ACE head down to Houston for a convention that's just 24/7, 4 straight days. It is awesome, but it is exhausting. I mean, it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., go, 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 go. At the end of that thing, I can barely stand to look at or hear myself talk. It is crazy busy. And about 2 weeks before we're ready to go, Rick calls me and says, John, could you please grab 99 of your friends from ACE Corporate, assuming you actually have any friends, and could you invite them to my house because I'm inviting all of you over to dinner Thursday night after the convention. Wow. He says, me and the Houston ACE retailer group, those of us that run stores and operate stores down here, we just like to say thanks to corporate for all that you do. And I gotta tell you folks, 2 things hit me immediately. One was, what an unbelievably gracious servant heart. Wow. The second was, I would rather be dead than go to his house after the convention. I just want to go to my room and like in a diaper and be quiet there for a little bit. So I tried everything I could, all my persuasive skills to say, Rick, it's the thought that counts. So nice of you. I'm humbled and honored. But you know, I can't do that. We can't do that. So you give the money to charity. Back and forth we go. Come on, you gotta come. Come on, you gotta come. No, I don't want to. Finally, he says to me, boy, can you not take a thank you? And, you know, I don't know if you know me or not, but you call me boy, I'll do whatever you want. So, okay. So we rounded up 99 of the folks from corporate, and again, it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., standing on your feet all day in a convention store, talk, and now we're gonna go get on a bus and drive 55 minutes to Rick's house. Oh, I so wanted to just fake sick. But it's like, yeah, the convention's 6 o'clock, here we go, we're gonna get on a bus. I'm probably not getting in my bed till midnight for crying out loud, and I'm nasty and crabby. So we're walking over to the buses, and we're all piling on. There's a couple of buses, and first I see when I get on this bus, this ain't so bad. This is not a school bus, this thing's decked out. And we all get cowboy hats that Rick and Ron have funded for us, because we're in Houston, Texas. And then I look around and the bus driver's a hoot and there's music playing, there's food on the bus, there's every kind of beverage the world has ever seen is on that bus. Some of them were adult enhanced beverages, you know, okay? And about 15 minutes into this ride, I'm thinking, this ain't so bad. I'm looking at the team going, they're having a great time. They're unwinding. I was an idiot. This is actually a really good time. And we were loosening up and having a great time. And about 5 minutes before we got to Rick's house, we get pulled over by the cops. Oh, and this cop comes walking on our bus and he is screaming at us. He is reading us the riot act. He's got a gun as big as my leg. He's got a hat on. He's terrifying us. And I'm in the back thinking, oh my gosh, this is such a bad way to get in the paper. I'm literally hiding in the back. Because now, listen, for the record, in case this is being recorded, I was in the back drinking milk, reading poetry. For real. The rest of these morons, though, were drinking. Okay? And all of a sudden the cop goes, are you people drinking on this bus? You can't drink on the bus. I'm like, oh, I'm hiding. You know how gross a floor bus is? I'm on the floor of the bus. 2 seconds later he goes, just kidding. It was just a joke. Rick and Ron put him up to us. Ha ha ha, I'm just kidding. He gets off the bus. No, it's not funny. I did not have a Depends on that night. Should have. He gets into the police cars and 2 squad cars with the sirens going give us a police escort right into Rick's driveway where we see 65 ACE retailers, local owners of their stores, lined up face to face, forming a row with a white towel over their arms, saying, welcome, we're here to serve you. Are you kidding me? Later in the night, I saw the cop, still with the gun, now a beer in the hand. And I went over to him and I was like, hey, bud, that was great, thanks for that. I soiled myself because of you, appreciate that. Just wanted to say, really good use of taxpayer money. Thank you for that. And so we were going back and forth. And then he got real serious with me and he looked at me and he said, John, after all these local owners have done for this community, if they call and ask for something, if it's even close to legal, we do it. This is Houston, Texas, folks. This isn't Podunk nowhere. You tell me, a servant heart is not the enemy of a profitable business. It's the enabler. We talked earlier. about attacking a weakness in the very strength of your enemy. Folks, as the world seems to increasingly fawn all over Amazon and their never-ending pursuit of technical, impersonal, artificial, faceless interaction, we're betting the farm, and I think you should bet the farm on what we know is a timeless principle, that human relationships and human connection will always have the potential to stir a soul. And when we do that well, it's not just good for business, which it is, it's good for society. Folks, if you want to attack the biggest weakness in the strength of the mighty Amazon, you know what it is? They don't have you. They don't have local owners embedded in local communities like you do. And you tell me who is better equipped to stir the souls and amaze the neighbors of a community than the local business owners. Folks, you can fight and win. David can beat Goliath, and your brightest days can be ahead of you. Thanks for all your time this morning.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast, Bike Shop Radio, Episode 4. If you like what you heard, please check out our online website at 718C. Of course, it's an online website. Please check out our online store, 718C.com. If you like the music you listen to, that's High Falls, run by Colin, a former 718 employee. You can check High Falls out on Bandcamp. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you very soon.